The United States announced regulation changes on Wednesday to its travel policy regarding Cuba. U.S. administration officials told reporters in an effort to implement President Donald Trump's policy of holding the communist regime accountable for its human rights violations. The Trump administration reforms, scheduled to take effect Thursday, have limited travel and business ties to Cuba, prohibiting Americans from doing business with the tyrannical communist regime and eliminating the individual people-to-people trips that have allowed U.S. citizens to visit Cuba for alleged educational purposes, alone as opposed to with our tour group. We have strengthened our Cuba policies to channel economic activity away from the Cuban military and to encourage the government to move toward greater political and economical freedom for the Cuban people, said Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin in a statement Wednesday. The State Department is taking complementary steps to implement these policy changes that cumulatively seek to channel economic activities away from the Cuban military, intelligence, and security services, while maintaining opportunities for Americans to engage in authorized travel to Cuba and support the private small business sector in Cuba. The actions today show that we stand with the people of Cuba, and I want to reiterate that improvements to the United States-Cuba relationship will depend entirely on the Cuban government's willingness to improve the lives of Cuban people, including promoting the rule of law, respecting human rights, and taking concrete specific steps to foster political and economic freedom, explained one of the officials. We will not hold the Cuban regime accountable for oppression and human rights abuses ignored under the previous administration's policy, said the Trump official, echoing the goals of President's Cuba policy announced in June. We will further the national security and foreign policy interests of the United States and those of the Cuban people, and we will lay the groundwork for empowering the Cuban people to develop greater economic and political interests.